In this video, I am joined by WolverThor, and we are looking at the kits for War Machine and Mantis. How good are they? Well, that's what we're going to talk about, so let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
Hey, what's up, all you Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we are talking about the leak kits for Mantis, for War Machine. They've been floating around for the past couple days, and we thought is no better time to discuss these kits right now before these characters are out. And I am joined by none other than WolverThor. What's up, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, it is very good that you're here. I'm happy that you're here because you're very technical with your analysis of this game. So I thought it'd be no better person to bring for this video than yourself. Now, we were gonna do something very different on these leaks, where these leaks are coming from, but we decided to keep it positive and talk about the characters themselves, about the kits themselves. Now, before we get into more in-depth analysis, geez, what are your first impressions of these characters and their kits?
You look at them and you can see, depending on some base stats and some energy, potential god tier-ish or a borderline god tier to just kind of an accessory piece for sure for War Machine. He could have a lot of damage. And then Mantis, I feel like she could make the Guardians kind of a sustainable raid squad here. I'm not sure she'll do much for PvP right there.
She has a wide variety just based on her kit, and a lot of it depends on the cooldowns of these skills and what her base stats are. And if these skills, some of these skills have a real short cooldown, she could be very, very good. If some of these skills have a long cooldown, she slides down very quickly, especially if her base stats are not that solid. So wide variety here. I think there's a little less variety with War Machine because I expect his base stats to be similar to Iron Man, just because they're similar type characters. And his variance is going to come with the cooldowns on his skills. So it could be very good, could be mediocre. I don't think he's going to slide too far, even if the cooldowns are high. What do you think? Yeah. Mantis, there's a lot of wiggle room depending on the cooldowns of these. So
yeah,
let's go in and take a look at her first move. This is her basic right here. We are looking at Sleep. So, reading the description, attack primary target for 100% damage. If charged, then in addition stun the target, which sounds cool, but then you lose the charge. And how does she get charged? She gets that from her passive. And at best, she only gets that charge 75% of the time. So I wouldn't rely too much on the stun. It's more about the damage. And what are your thoughts on this? What does this ramp up to? Because I know you did some of the math here.
Yeah. And before I jump to that ramp to and it's only not just 75% chance, only on the spawn. So you only get to use that stun once.
Only once, and then you lose it after you use the basic.
But it ramps up to the basic damage is 200%. So and that's up to level 6.
And then she does give Drax deflect if he's an ally. So she's meant to synergize with Drax.
I like that. I mean, I do like assuming she's, it makes me feel like she's going to be doing a lot of basic. I think of Mystique a little bit stealing. Or maybe not stealing, but copying her buffs.
Yeah.
The only problem here is you really don't want Mantis using her basic a lot. You really, we'll get into the other ones, but you're really wanting her to kind of use the other abilities.
Yeah, she's the healer. I think you're gonna bring her onto the team for her heal ability, and not as much for the damage. So,
Agree.
And all right, so let's move on. Basic is pretty basic, nothing too special there. And let's go on to her special, Empathy. Heals self and adjacent allies, so not all allies. Interesting. So the placement of her matters here. For 1,500 health at level 1, it ramps up to a bit more. I think the percentage. What is that?
2750, which is still not very high, but
yeah, I mean when you're thinking of characters with base health in the hundreds of thousands, not hundreds, but 100,000, that base heal doesn't amount to much. But this is where her base stats really matter, because it goes up to what is it? What does it ramp up to her percentage?
15% of this character's HP.
Yeah, so if her base stats are really high, this could be a very big heal. So she's going to be helping herself and her adjacent allies. And depending on the cooldown of this skill, this could be very strong. If it's like a 2 or 3 turn cooldown, it won't be 2. But if it's a 3 turn cooldown, this could be a very, very strong heal. If it's a 8 turn cooldown or 6 turn cooldown, just not as useful. Not as useful.
I agree with that. I think, to me, I'm thinking it should be a 3 or 4. If it's a 3, obviously, I think it'll be she'll be a stronger character. 4, you know, maybe with a Star-Lord on the team,
It makes it more of an okay skill at 4. I like it at 3. I think it should be at 3.
Yeah, me too.
If it's anything more than that, then it's just mediocre skill. All right, let's move on. Her ultimate, Soothe, and this is a redistribution of health. It cannot be used on summon allies, so that's good. You get a little bit extra heal with the with it bumping up. And what does that ramp up to? 500,000, about 1,500. So not a lot of base heal. But you got that redistribution, and if you're pairing her with Groot, who has a huge amount of health on him, could be a big heal.
Same with Drax. Well, I mean, but you know what? It's the redistribution's only with the lowest ally.
Between self and lowest. Okay, I read that wrong. Yeah, so I guess it really depends on her health pool again on what this is gonna be. This could be a garbage skill.
And you think about it. I mean, you're gonna want her at full health to bring someone else who's almost dead to half health, and now they're both at roughly half health.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, her base stats is what's gonna make it, and she's got some help from her passive for this ability. And then the cooldown also affects, and then 2 of these upgrades, level 4 and at level 6, only applies to raids. So if there's really I don't really see a big use for her outside of the raids or maybe Dark Dimension. What do you see the use of this character?
I'd agree. I don't see her being. I mean, you could throw her on a blitz team, I guess, just to fill in a spot. But it's that special you said. It's apply additional regens to all allies and raids. Okay, she has a 75% chance to apply a regen to self and adjacents for that special as well, which is a little bit more heal, but. I just don't see that really playing in arena much at all.
Nah, she's kind of like Storm, where she's just mainly for raids.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm seeing there. All right, and then her passive. Now, this again, it really depends on her base stats because she's getting at level 4. She's getting 15% heal every turn. It's good.
Makes that redistribution. Possibly. So she goes down to half, and if she gets a couple turns in, she's back up, or 3 turns, 4 turns in. I mean, she's getting it back up plus some heal, a Groot heal.
Groot's getting that. So again, the cooldowns on her base stats really will determine if this is a good skill or just nothing. But
I hate that again. That charge.
The charge, it's weird. I don't know if I like it either. All right. So here's a question for you, Mantis. With what you know so far, even with all these holes and what her base stats and what the cooldowns are going to be, is she meta at best? If her stats look good, if the cooldowns look good, is she a meta character?
In raid meta?
Yes. We'll say for raids. We'll say for raids because even if her stats and everything look good, I don't see a lot of use for her outside of raids. For raids, is she a meta character? Do you need her? Especially on these gamma raids where there's those guardian nodes.
I'm going to go and say, I'm going to assume these stats are going to be good, and I'm going to say yes, especially for your point that you were just making. Because I could just, if you're really pushing past that 60% mark, and you need those guardians, you need that sustain.
All right, and what would you? We talked about this beforehand, and kind of hate to say it, but I think if you were running a full Guardians team, the one that's left out, Gamora.
Poor old Gamora.
I want to put her in there, but when you look at who else to leave out, Star-Lord, We both agree he goes on the N, and then Rocket right next to him. In the middle, I like your idea. Groot in the center. Her on the back side of between Groot and Drax, and then Drax on the other end. She could heal both those characters with her adjacency. They're taunting. They can kind of take some of the attacks away from Rocket, because he's going to be your main damage dealer. A little bit with Star-Lord as well. And then you got some defense ups with Groot as well. So this team could be very, very tanky.
Yeah, it's
potential. I see potential.
I absolutely agree. Her and Groot with his rework, it could be a sick raid team.
This could be very strong, very, very tough to kill. I mean, yeah, which is good because you're going against raids. All right, next.
Need more sustain.
Yes, they do need more sustain. Hopefully, Groot's rework helps with that as well, even if you don't have Mantis. Next one. This is that Mantis, clearly a raid character. War Machine, clearly an Alliance War character. What are your initial thoughts on his kit?
Like, again, we talked about him assuming his base damage is going to be similar to, and just looking at the percent damages here, I like it a lot, especially that ultimate. And we'll get into it, but the amount of damage that can do versus some of our other high-end damage dealers, that thing, and you keep mentioning it, depending on energy costs and cooldowns, that thing could be nice.
He's like a Avengers version of Rocket.
That's exactly right.
Potentially better, depending on what the cooldowns of these things are. Because some of these stats could ramp up to a little higher than damage, and assuming that he has similar stats to Iron Man, could be slightly better version of Rocket. So yeah. I got his basic up. We don't know the name, we don't know the cooldowns, but he is attacking primary target and adjacent targets for X amount of damage, and I think that ramps up to 120. No. Yes.
Yep, 120.
120. And he has a 50% chance to apply offense down at level 3, always applying offense down at level 5. For a basic, I mean, it's pretty basic. Not bad. I like that offense down. Helps.
Yeah, I like the offense down. That's nice. It's kind of Vision-esque in that regard.
Yeah, so nothing special, but again, decent basic. All right. Let's look at special. No name for this one either, but it is attacking primary and adjacent targets 2 times for 20% piercing. If Iron Man is an ally, attack 1 additional time. That is at level 1. That damage ramps up to 80 piercing, but you're attacking between 2 and 3 times at level 6. And if you have Iron Man, that goes to 3 to 4 times at level 6. What are your initial thoughts on this?
I will self-admit that I haven't figured out exactly the piercing to damage ratio of how hard that actually hits, but thinking about an 80% piercing 3 to 4 times, numbers are pretty low. So
on the high end, that's going to be between 240% and 320%.
That's a lot.
And these 2 to 3 times, what this makes me think of is getting past those death proofs.
Yes,
exactly. You're getting an extra hit. People with death proof, this is going to affect them.
And this is primary and adjacent targets, correct?
Yeah.
So you're hitting a ton of people.
Potentially 320% damage when you add it all up. If Iron Man is your ally. This could be a strong skill, and if this cooldown is low, like Rocket's is, man, Avengers just got a big damage dealer.
Yeah, and I know we're gonna get into the taunt thing with him, but I just imagine, so if a tank has a taunt, the adjacent allies are taking a lot of damage still.
Yeah. This might go very well with taunt.
You just pick whoever.
All right, his ultimate, still no name. Attacking all enemies for 190% damage at level 1. Damage is increased by 30% per hero ally. This scales to 310% at level 6. So not even using those orange mats. And if you have a team of full hero allies, that goes up to 430%. That AoE.
Yeah, that's monster right there.
For reference, Groot's skill does 320% with Groot. Rocket skill, excuse me, does 320% with Groot. And if they have base stats that are pretty similar, this is going to be way better than Rocket's. Again, assuming the cooldowns are similar. Because one of the big things about Rocket, he has very low cooldowns. That's what makes him a very strong character.
So.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with this. If it's a high cooldowns, it's just okay.
Yeah,
it's not
that'll turn me
a
off of him a lot if it's a lot of high cooldowns.
But if it's something similar to Rocket, where it's just going, this he could be very, very strong. Mm-hmm. Big damage. Potential big. I mean, it is big damage. How many times you'll be able to do it in a battle? That's what will make it great or not. And then his passive. No name on this, but this could be awesome or really, really bad depending on the battle. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna actually read his level 2 because this is where the main thing comes in that makes it good or bad. 50% chance to apply taunt to enemies when they drop below 50% health. He's getting more damage. He's getting more crit. If Iron Man is an ally. And I guess you're going to have to use him with Iron Man to make the most use of him. Yeah. And then that
what's your
weird
thought
thing.
about that taunt?
Again, in the right team, in the right situation, can be awesome. But it could actually backfire. You mentioned Thanos. If this goes on Thanos, you're attacking Thanos until Thanos is dead because the Avengers don't have anybody that could get him off, get that taunt off. So it could be bad.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're running with Hawkeye with these two guys,
Hawkeye might not be able to get on a taunt. Not for Thanos though. You can't remove that reliably.
From time to time, it can work, but
it does once in a while, but it's not reliable when you do it with Hawkeye.
Totally agreed.
Yeah, so could be awesome, could be bad. Just depends on the situation, but that's his passive.
Yeah.
All right, so that is his kit. Assuming his stats are the same as what did I forget?
The war, the
war. Where was that? I forgot to talk about that.
Passive level 4 passive in war, you gain 10% damage.
10% damage at war. I think that applies to just him because it doesn't say anything about allies unless it's one of those mislabeled skills.
Yeah, I didn't know for that, wondering.
So it helps him a little more. It's nice.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I assume his damage is already high. If he's getting more crit chance from Iron Man, he's getting more crit damage from himself. Yeah.
I think overall it's a pretty solid, pretty solid damage dealer.
Oh, I see what's happening at level 2. Right now, at level 1, he's gaining the damage. At level 2, Iron Man and him are gaining the crit damage. You see what it's worded there? We were kind of confused before we shot. All right, so you need him with Iron Man. They'll both get better.
Agreed.
So, all right, so with all that in mind, including the war that I forgot, where do you think this puts him? Give him the base stats of Iron Man. Give him best case scenario with the cooldowns. Maybe 3-turn cooldown on his special and let's say a 5-turn cooldown on his ultimate because that would be pretty strong. I think if it's.
I'd be interested to see if there could be some type of arena tech synergy with him. Maybe he could help them, because right now Arena is really about Brotherhood. You still got some Shield, Nick Fury stuff, some high-end brawlers, a few defenders lurking. You're not seeing a ton of tech. Helps. He could help with that.
When I did my prediction, I was hoping his passive would help all tech to make a new tech team, but it's just with Iron Man, and I don't know if that's strong enough to put him in a tech team unless he's got some crazy stats. So
Agree, and
unless his stats and cooldowns are crazy, I don't really see him
in there.
going into the meta. You know, and if he does have those
Yeah.
crazy stats and cooldowns, then yeah, he'll probably will fit somewhere in a tech team for arena. Blitz, yeah, he's gonna fit well in arena in a Avengers team.
Mhm.
The raids.
You know, right now I can't even find a spot for Iron Man in raids. I'll be honest with you. I use him on one node.
I have not used Avengers in raids for a long time.
Yeah, they're just. It's sad, but you know,
I
I
mean,
heard
with
the other day.
I mean, Ultimate 6 maybe just for fun because it's
Yeah.
getting easier as we're ramping up our characters. But
Mhm.
the other raids are so restrictive. I can't even use them
I
if
don't
I
even.
wanted to have fun with
Can
them.
you-
So
an
not
Avengers
a
tag,
full
right?
Avengers team. No, I mean, there's pieces of it, but yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so
I
where do you
mean,
think this puts him as a character with all that in mind, in different game modes?
you know, I hate to say it, but it's
Meta?
going to be similar to. No, I don't think he is. I mean, I think he's got. You know, we were talking a little bit beforehand that there's a potential for being below God tier, but you know, I can't find enough spot for Iron Man, and I'm not convinced that War Machine's
Okay,
better.
here's my argument that he could be very good. Rocket is pretty
Oh, that's
darn
true.
near god tier, and his kit looks similar to Rocket. If he has the stats to back it up, and he has the cooldowns like Rocket does, he's gonna be demigod tier.
That I agree with. If he has that, then
It
he
does,
will
yeah. It
be
doesn't matter if he's Avenger or not. He's just gonna be a
find a
solid
spot
character.
for him.
Yeah.
Yep, you'll find a spot for him.
You
for
definitely
sure.
will if he has those cooldowns. Now, if he does not have those cooldowns, if these are long cooldowns similar to Iron Man, it's gonna drop him a lot,
I
and
agree.
he's gonna be a real middle of pack character.
I agree with that. Which would be weird. I mean, if War Machine's better than Iron Man, how about that?
If he can be, based on his kit,
No, I know. I
but
agree.
but we don't know
I
the
just,
but we don't know the cooldown, so I don't know. He might or might
I'm just
not.
thinking more conceptually, like you know how Hulk should be a great character.
Yeah, I think
agree.
Hulk needs a little buff. Iron Man definitely needs a buff. Those are iconic characters, and
Yeah.
I get that. But that's about it. Tell everybody a little bit about your channel, man.
So, if you haven't been to my channel, I typically try to cover just, you know, any type of theory. Sometimes I'll do some walkthroughs. Ultimately, what it comes down to is if I find a way to do something that I think's, I don't want to say better, but like an easier way to do something, or hey, have you thought about this? I've found this type of method works really well. That's really what I try to share on my channel to help everybody get things out of the game that maybe they weren't getting, or find, you know, just tips and tricks. And then I do these priority videos for how I'm kind of prioritizing some things. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. But really, it's all about trying to help the community and, you know, getting some positive videos out there that hopefully will help some people out.
Yeah, I mean, the videos are very good. The thought that he puts into his content is very good. So if you haven't checked him out, different things that I do on this channel. So if you haven't checked out his channel, make sure you check it out. I will put a link down below. If you guys like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Smash on that like button. Join the notification squad if you want to support the channel. Make sure you check out the BlueStacks link down below. You can play BlueStacks on your PC. You could play Marvel Strike Force. You could play whatever game you play on Android, and at no cost to you. Just and it supports the channel. So check that out. That is about it. I do have one thing I want to say to you before you go. WolverThor,
I mean,
are you still there? Yeah, I want to
here.
remind you of something if you're still here.
Still here.
Remember, dude, it's all about the training, the prayers, and the vitamins, brother. ValleyFlyin. Out.